Hello, everyone. What a ride this event has been. Hello, hello. I'm excited for today. It's one of my favorite topics, the Terror Barrier 2.0. Samantha, who's just joined the certification, she's calling it a Terror Barrier 2.0. And I just thought that is the best thing ever. For those of you guys that have no idea what the Terror Barrier is, you're going to be like, that's got no context for me. What do you mean the Terror Barrier 2.0? But for those of you guys that know, you're going to appreciate this. Actually, I'm very curious as everyone's finding their way to the recording. Who's heard of the Terror Barrier? I'm going to take out my headphones. Hello, hello. Hello, as everyone's coming on. God, it has been an interesting beginning of the week. Who saw my little emergency video? Oh, Sandra, I didn't know if you could come. I thought you had another call. I'm so happy you're here. Who saw my little emergency yesterday? Well, according to Nando, when Nando broke into our house, that's probably a bit of a dramatic explanation of what happened. But when Nando climbed over the garden fence to come say hi yesterday, I said, "We're in emergency." And he goes, he wasn't having any of it, guys. It's very annoying. Obviously, I've got an ex-military partner, and Tamsin, unfortunately, has chosen an ex-military partner as well. So neither of them thought that it was an emergency, but in my head it was. So have you guys seen that video? If you haven't, go and watch that video, because that's going to tell you why we've had so many scheduling errors. Oh, Sandra says, I made it. Oh, hi, Daniela. Hello, Tam Tam. Kim. Hello, Hannah and everyone. I know, Kim, I just saw that you joined. I got a little notification as I was opening the live. Hello. Saw it was so funny. Nando's theatrical arrival. Hello, Tashi. Oh, so amazing to have you guys here. Yeah, if you didn't see the video, we had a national blackout yesterday. And if you want to be told that story in a way that is more dramatic than necessary, go watch the little update and I tell you about how I lived it. And there will be people that lived it very cool. There'll be people that weren't anxious. There'll be people that were like, oh, I didn't spiral in my head. I was not one of those people. And I'm not afraid to tell you that, guys. You know, I was thinking something. Kim's put that video cheered me up on my daily walk. I'm so happy. I was thinking about this, right? Oh, Christy, hello. Oh, Christy, you won something. So it's good that you're here because you'll find out what you've won. You know, it makes me laugh. There's so many things that are taught online, right? That are meant to work for you, right? And like, how many times have you heard, be on authority? Be on authority, be on authority. What the fuck does that mean? And so what lots of people hear be authority is they start showing up, right? In a way that's incongruent to who they really are. They start talking about all of their wins without talking about what's happening behind the scenes. They start thinking that they've got to be this perfect human to make sales. But this is a really dangerous path. Because people can smell incongruence. People can smell incongruence, guys. I get this quite a lot. Oh my God, you're so authentic. And I'm like, yes, because you will be able to feel that I know what I'm talking about. You'll be able to feel that I'm not here pretending that I'm so powerful because I've got something to prove. Do you know what authority really comes from? Do you know the people that are so magnetic and you can feel it? People that are so secure in themselves that they don't have to perform. Hello, Hildegard. And people that are so secure in themselves that they don't have to perform or prove their authority. Because they're cool with themselves. And so that's the reason that I can come on and say, yesterday I was anxious. And today I still have red eyes because I had nightmares last night. And in my opinion, you may disagree, right? It doesn't make me lose any authority because I'm telling you guys the truth. I'm telling you the truth of the process. I'm not giving you the finished end thing. Look at me, I'm a marvelous creature. I'm showing how I get to where I get to. And the reason that I'm starting with this, Tam's is going to be nervously thinking, oh, what's she going to say? In the name of authenticity, what's she going to say? The reason that I'm starting this way is that I'm going to be talking about the terror barrier. And the terror barrier is a really fucking honest part of personal development. But it's not taught. It's not taught. Do you know why it's not taught? Because people want to be in the high vibe. People want to talk about, oh my God, my funnel made me 75 bazillions. Because what you're taught in marketing school is send the end result, sell the end result, sell the end result. That might be true through a marketing lens. But if we're honest, what am I really here for? I'm here for my transformation. I'm here for your guys' transformation. So if we need to pull our knickers up or our pants up, if you're wearing pants, right? We don't discriminate, doesn't matter. Any underwear choice, whether you're American, oh yeah, what do you call your knickers in America? Fuck knows, right? Whatever that is, we also look at the stuff that might not feel great, right? But I tell you that it's happening. So if you do face it, you don't hit that wall of shame, right? How many of you guys, I'm curious, drop an emoji, have felt shame about something that you've experienced behind the scenes? How many of you guys have felt shame because of being imperfect? Just curious. Drop me an emoji if you felt that. Sandra's like, many times, yeah. And shame blocks our success. It does, because we go, oh, I'm not perfect, I can't receive the result. I can't receive the result. Right? How much transformation does shame create? Yeah, Tashi today. Cool. I see that. Shame creates zero transformation. Do you know what shame is like? Shame is like super gluing your feet to the same place and then wondering why you're not moving. That's what shame creates. So, something terrible's happened to my accent, guys. I sent an audio to a girl that I went to university with. She was one of my very close friends there. And she goes, is your boyfriend from the Midlands? She was like, you sound like you're from up north. I'm from Norwich. I was taught to speak in a very non-regional accent. And I'm listening to these videos of me and I'm like, Craig, you broke my voice and I didn't even notice. So please forgive me for where I sound like I'm doing weird impersonations of different accents from all over the world. I'm just confused culturally, okay? I'm not doing it on purpose, but I just heard it then. Tamsin teases me. And then she did it the other day. Yeah, Sandra, you know what it's like to be culturally confused and no clue what your accent sounds like. So shame is like cementing your feet to the floor and wondering why you're not moving, right? Yeah, it's unfortunate. My Spanish accent is similarly peculiar. Right? No. So do you know what helps? Awareness. And do you know what awareness is? Awareness is being able to lovingly hold up a mirror and go, oh, that is in me. You know, I'm going to do a free workshop, not free workshop. I'm going to do a workshop in the Global Uni. I was saying to Tam today, and we're going to call it the integrity of money or something like that, because so many people are out of integrity with money, not because they're bad people, but because they're scared. I've done it, you've done it, we've all done it. And so shaming ourselves for it doesn't help. So we have to be able to look at ourselves in the mirror and go, oh, I did that. That was me. I still love you so much, me. I still love you so much. That was you. You know, when I looked at my relationship patterns and, you know, I cheated on lots of boyfriends when I was younger. Am I proud of that? I don't think, oh, Hannah, that was fantastic. But me healing my romantic relationships wasn't shaming myself and cementing my feet to the floor. Me healing that was getting a mirror up and going, you did do that, and actually that wasn't okay, but I still love you. What in you created that? Was it fear? Did you not love yourself? Were you chasing validation? I used to have this thing as a young person that there was no amount of validation that would fill me up. And the reason that I hooked up with other boys apart from my boyfriend, this is true, I'm telling you it, because we're getting naked today, right? Not physically, because it's too cold. Not that I've got anything against nudity, but it's not appropriate for today. I have a funny story about our American clients and a retreat in Ibiza, but I'll leave that for now. Some of you guys have heard it. But me being like, oh, Hannah, you're a terrible person for cheating, wouldn't have changed anything. It would be, but you know, it was like looking at myself in the mirror and saying, well, what in you felt that you had to do that? Oh, you were a never-ending black hole of needing validation. Why? Because you didn't love yourself. And that was really hard and that was really painful. And so I had to hold myself with such tender love and care, you know, as I looked at that and being able to look at it through that loving awareness. There is movement in that. And there's movement because you can create change. Change doesn't come from shame, right? Change never comes from shame. And so in relationship with money, it's that as well. So that'll be not a free workshop, sorry, that will be a paid workshop within the Global Uni at some point. Tamsin and I are putting it behind the scenes, like little ways we've seen people be out of integrity with money. And by people, we include ourselves. And it will be a no shame zone and it will be new content, but it will be looking at all of the ways that, because everything that you do with others, you'll receive yourself. I think Natalie J had a fucking awesome share in the group. Go look at it. She was saying, oh my God, I've realized how I make decisions with money. I just got a call, don't know who from, is how people pay me. And this is a Kabbalah concept, right? If you're stolen from, look at where you've stolen time from somewhere. Or all of these things, right? So anyway, it's cool. That's not the point of today. Today, we're getting honest and we're getting naked and we're not talking about integrity and we're not talking about sex and we're not talking about any of those things actually that I've started with. So you're welcome. A really on point introduction. We're talking about the terror barrier 2.0. If you've heard me talk about the terror barrier before, will you please put an emoji in the chat? Also, Craig is laughing at me. I paid 30 euros for water bottles imprinted with love and gratitude and abundance and the tree of life. And I've now got them and I'm very excited by it. Just thought I'd tell you. Awesome. Kim, Sandra, Tashi. Also, those of you guys that are live with me today, so grateful. I know that this has been a very unscheduled and confusing event, which we apologise for, but power outages, what can you do? But for those of you guys that are here, thank you. What a pleasure. Love it. Cool. So some of you have, some of you haven't. Let's go into it. I'm going to teach you the terror barrier, which again isn't my concept, right? It's a Bob Proctor concept. And then I'm going to do something. I felt a little bit nervous teaching today, talking about this. I felt a little bit nervous in this event, which is unlike me, to be honest. I've been teaching for a long time. I used to get very, very nervous. I've been a very shy person in my life. As you can see, I'm no longer that, which just shows identity is just a belief. But I'm nervous about this because it's an edge. I'm taking a teaching from someone that I really, really respect. So when you hear me talk about Bob Proctor and his teaching and it being incomplete, it is not from a place of superiority. It's not from a place of lack of appreciation of his teachings. And it is most definitely not from a place of, look at me, I'm better. Teachings evolve as consciousness rises. That's how it works. We are open to understanding things at a deeper level now than we were 50 years ago. Even if you just look at the world now, right, yoga 15 years ago was really weird. Like it was. I remember when I started yoga, my dad was like, why are you like some weird Buddhist now? He had no conceptualization. He was like, this is bizarre. Now yoga is mainstream, right? So just notice that as consciousness expands, right, teachings can expand. And so there are teachers that were pioneers for their time and I revere and respect and adore, right, will still only be teaching the tip of the iceberg because that's what people's minds were open to at that time. So if you look at our Bob Proctor people, he really focused on the laws of success from a mental level. If you look at Louise Hay, who for me was the first person that changed my life, right? She focused on thoughts because that was a massive transformation for people then. But it's 2025 now, guys. And in the context of this whole free event of like consciousness is shifting, we are ready for understandings that we've not had until this point, unless we go way, 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 way back to ancient wisdom. And so the Terror Barrier 2.0 is taking a rock solid teaching that has changed my life and giving you greater context so you can live it in your life with some embarrassing stories from yours truly. You are welcome. What is a live teaching session without that? Okay, so the Terror Barrier is a 4-part process. I'm very happy that I don't have to do 3 today. I can do 4 because apparently that's simpler in my brain. It's a 4-part process which happens when you quantum leap. Everyone wants to quantum leap. Everyone wants to have radically different results. Everyone wants non-logical growth, right? If I said to you guys, would you like to jump 3 rungs on the success ladder? Would you guys say yes? I feel like you guys would say yes, right? You can tell me otherwise, but I feel like, you know, most of us, do we want to have a jump in our success? Do we want to have a jump in our finances? Do we want to have a jump in our love life? Do we want to have a jump in our health life? Do we want to jump in everything, right? Yes, of course we do. And so if you want to have that jump, you have to understand the process. It's not just one day you wake up and boom, it's here, and 7 times more that may happen, but this will happen first. And so this is what I mean about being really, really real with you guys. Let's do a pop quiz. Who here that's done the Terror Barrier with me remembers the 4 stages? I always love to throw a pop quiz because I'm such a nerd. I'm like, let's do a pop quiz. No one thinks that's exciting. I think that's exciting. Could anyone tell me what the 4 stages of the Terror Barrier are? That's obviously my clients and who's been here longer. Oh, more people are joining us. How awesome. Hey guys, so lovely to have you here. Anyone? Oh, Kim. See, Kim is like me. I resonate a lot with Kim because Kim and I are both nerds deep down and excited to learn everything. So of course Kim's come through. Okay. Bondage, reason, conflict, freedom. Oh, you've cheated on your notes. Okay, those are the stages. Those are the stages. Goal is what I want, benefits, fears, actions. Wait, that's 5. So that's a different concept, Tashi. So let's look at Kim's notes. That's so funny that you've got notes and you've been able to find them. I like that. I like that. So bondage is stage 1. I'm going to take an example from my past so this makes sense, right? When I was in university, I could feel I was limited, right? In the fact that I wasn't happy. I was on antidepressants. I was anxious most of the time. I didn't feel free. I didn't feel happy. I felt very lost. I was chasing validation. I was chasing sex. I was chasing all of these things, right? So I knew that my life wasn't what I wanted it to look like. But I didn't know this world of personal development. I didn't know that I could make money like this. I didn't know that I could like myself. I didn't know that I could love myself. I didn't know I could be comfortable with myself whilst I was being weird and imperfect. I didn't know any of this, right? So all I knew was my reality felt not as I wanted, but I didn't know there was a way out. I didn't know there was more. I didn't know anything else. And so that's called bondage. And so we're going to look at everything through your frequency system, okay? Our nervous system holds frequencies. We're going to say that. That's a very, very simplistic explanation. But for today, that's what you've got, right? So when you're in bondage, you're holding an X frequency. So my X frequency would be chasing sex for validation. I knew I'd bring that random story back in. I don't love myself. My frequency would be like, I'm very unsure about life, I'm unhappy, don't eat food, only take cocaine. I'm not sure I'm allowed to tell these stories, but I fucking am, right? So I wasn't very well behaved. I got good notas in Spanish, what's it in English? Good grades, but you know, the rest of me, not great, right? You know, in process. So my reality was that. My reality was relationships. I had a beautiful boyfriend in uni that, do you know what? I think back and I go, why, how did that happen? He was so wonderful and I was so challenging. Anyway, so I had that complicated relationship, probably more because of me than him. And I had, you know, many tears, many emotional breakdowns, a lot of perfectionism. And so my X vibration gave me an X life, right? Bondage. Your vibration is your life. You're living limited, but you don't know that there's something else, okay? That's bondage. So I'm using university, but it could be, for example, you could be in bondage right now. I've got, maybe if I looked at it, a bondage right now, if I wasn't in desire, if I wasn't allowing my desires to flow through, I'm like, well, this is just life, right? But bondage can be at different vibrations. It doesn't have to be bad. I want to be clear in that. It's just that, like, you're living a limited life and there's always going to be limits until you're enlightened, okay? There's just different levels of frequency. So my ex bondage in university would be different to my bondage now, okay? But it's still bondage. Then we've got reason, okay? Reason is very interesting. Most people live in reason. So let's take the university example, right? I'm at university, I'm not fulfilled, I'm thinking to myself in my head, if this is it, I'm very concerned because I'm not sure I want to do this whole life schmeify thing, right? That's where I'm at. And then I leave uni and my friend says, well, what if we just go to Australia? And I meet this personal trainer. Changed my life, this personal trainer. He was the first person that said to me, this was actually life-changing. He was the first person that said to me, I said to him, I'm depressed, this is just who I am. And he goes, well, what if that's not your story? No one had said that to me at that point. What if that's not your story? Ding. Wait a minute, that's possible. So I started having desire coming through. What was the desire? The desire was not needing medication. I've needed medication for a decade, right? But at this point, that was huge for me. So desire was, maybe I won't need medication. The desire was, oh, maybe I'd like to like myself. Maybe I'd like to feel comfortable in my body, right? Oh, maybe I'm going to leave the conventional education system and discover who I am without that. I had no idea who I was. I had no idea who I was, right? I was like, well, but maybe I'm different when I'm not around my family. Maybe I'm different when I'm not in England. I've only known myself as this. So now we're in reason, right? You're still holding a vibration. X is my vibration. But there's an idea, there's a desire that's come into conscious mind and that's holding a different vibration. That vibration of that new idea is Y, okay? So right now in reason, we feel totally safe because we're like, I'm holding X vibration and I desire Y. But you haven't decided that you're going to go for it. You've not made any commitment. You're just like, you're in this half-hearted energy. And some of you guys are in half-hearted energy right now. And I love you, but you are in half-hearted energy right now. And you're trying to come up with all of these reasons and these defense systems so someone doesn't tell you that you're in half-hearted energy. But me and you both know, whoever I'm speaking to, I don't know names, but you will know names from my blinky, blinky red eyes, right? You're in this energy, right? So whilst we're in reason, we feel safe. Why? Because in reason, we are in fantasy. Oh, let me tell you of a moment that I was in fantastic reason. I promised embarrassing stories, one coming for you. Get ready for this, okay? This is a corker. When I moved back from India, and my mum was, I don't mean to say this in such a jovial manner because this was a very challenging time in my life, but it had been a very strange couple of days, so I'm in a strange place today. I came back from India because I got a call from my mum. I should tell this a little bit seriously. On the top of, I was in Rishikesh And I get a call and Mum said it's a few months now, right? So I came back. She'd stabilised for the last maybe a year and a bit, and so we thought that we would have a lot longer, but we didn't. Actually, those 3 months ended up being a year and 3 months, so we did. And I came home and to look after her, and I was living in my parents' house, and I started dating. This was before I'd really done any relationship work on myself. I'd gone through a year where I decided to abstain from sex for a year because I thought that was going to change my relationships. It did not. It just confused me and made me feel weird about sex. And so I was trying to like come through this. I've had many seasons and cycles in my life to get where I am. I've had to do a lot of learning, right? People are like, oh, you're overnight success. I'm like, really, you did not see what happened prior. And I met this music agent in London. His name was Jesse. And at this time I was very impressed by these things. I was like, he makes this money as a music agent. He knows all of these famous people, right? And we had a very short romance, but it was actually a very helpful romance because it meant that I could leave the context of my family situation and go to London for a weekend and in many ways pretend what was happening wasn't for 2 days and then I'd come back to it, right? And one day he says, you should read this book. And, you know, this whole time we'd been in this micro relationship, we can't even call it a relationship, I'd been saying to him, oh, I'm going to build this business, I'm going to do all of these things. I was telling him all of these massive ideas that I had. But I'm going to be really fucking honest with you guys. Do you know the reality of my life in that moment? I was living with my mum and dad. I was about 26. I was living with my, not that there's any shame of any ages, I'm just telling you my age. I was 26, I was living with my mum and dad. My mum was dying. I had never had a business. I had no business experience. I hadn't sold anything, nothing, okay? Sold nothing digitally. I taught maybe 1 or 2 yoga classes and I'd volunteered as a yoga teacher in India, right? That was my work experience at this point. I'd also come back from India where I was earning in rupees and I had no money because, guys, you cannot understand how having rupees, you can't even take rupees out of it, you know, nothing. And so I was saying this to him. I remember he was willing, the reason that we met is that he was willing to pay 180 euros for an hour yoga class. And I was astounded. I was like, that much money? I felt like we didn't end up doing the yoga class, but something else happened. But that's how we met, right? And he gives me this book and it's called, what's it called? The one that's got F***CK. It's a orange cover. Do you guys know? It's not The Art of Not Giving a Fuck, it's another one. And this coach in this book, if someone can think of it, it'll be awesome. If not, I'll look later. Maybe Tam's Google books with fuck in the title and it will come up. But this author was clearly a coach that I would probably like now. But at that time, I wasn't used to coaches. I'd been living in like fantasy world in India in many ways, right? This time was great for me and I'd had all of these amazing experiences. But there'd been a huge amount of fantasy, right? And that was the reality. And I read this book and there's this whole chapter about people that say that they're doing all of these things, but they're not really doing anything. And I was so triggered, guys. I was so triggered. I was so triggered and so deeply uncomfortable in my emotions. I'm going to show you how emotionally suppressed my family has been and how much work it's taken me to get where I want, because we're getting naked today, aren't we? I said to my dad, this book makes me feel so uncomfortable, and he said, you should just burn it. And in the end, I put it in the freezer. I wrote a post on this years ago. We felt so uncomfortable with the book that I put the book in the freezer, guys, so I didn't have to deal with my emotions around the fact that I was telling people that I was going to do all these things and I was doing fucking nothing. However, the trigger did work. So thank you, Jesse, music producer that is American, that lives in, well, he lived in London, I don't know where he lives now, for your addition to my life. I eventually sat myself down and thought, actually, putting books that make me feel emotionally uncomfortable in freezers is probably not my greatest strategy for self-development. If I'm going to really do this, I'm going to have to really do this, right? And so then I made a decision. And that decision didn't feel good, right? Because I was in reason. Reason is I'm holding an X vibration and I'm telling all of these people about my Y ideas. I was in fantasy. Reason is fantasy, right? The thing with reason, and the reason that people want to stay, the reason that people want to stay in reason is that the second that you make a decision, because a decision is a vibrational action. If you're like, how do I go from here to here? It comes from a decision. So many guys, you're waiting, I'm waiting for a sign. That's why I say, I'm going to wait until I have the great opportunity, waiting until, no, maybe I was scared. I'd never done anything like that. And so I made a decision. And the decision was to actually do this. I was like, look, my ducks are not in a row. Mum's very, very ill. I'm in hospitals all of the time. I don't have a job. This is not a good time, right? But it was like, okay, I have to make a choice now. I have to change this. And the only person that can change this is me. And the second that I made the decision, I went into conflict. And do you know what conflict is? Conflict is where that why goes from conscious mind to subconscious mind. So you go from being like, oh yeah, I'm in my X vibration, having a Y idea, feels so safe, feels so snazzy, this is so good. None of you would say snazzy because you're not as uncool as me, but you make a choice and boom, the Y vibration goes to the unconscious mind. You get emotionally attached with a desire, boom, the Y vibration goes to the unconscious mind. Now something happens in your electric circuit, your vibration, for lack of a better word, and that's you've now suddenly vibrating an X here and vibrating an Y here. And that's the feeling of the new is not yet here, but the old is not gone. And so when there is a split vibration in the field like this, what do we consciously feel? We feel worry. We feel fear. We feel anxiety. Right? Have any of you guys made a choice about something that you're going to do, going towards a desire that you really want to do, and then you suddenly feel shit? How many of you guys had that experience? Sandra's been with us for a long time, so she's like 10,000 times, yeah? I see this post one day after I made this choice. And it's someone talking about Daniela. Someone's talking about the Health Style Emporium, which you'll know is a network marketing company. If you know, some of you may know, some of you may not. Some of you guys know me from my network marketing days, which were very short, okay? I see this post and it's like, do you want to have an online business in wellness? I'm very grateful for my network marketing days, right? Because I learned a shit ton. And I've made this decision that I'm going to do it. And so I text the girl, Ashley, and I tell her, I'm interested in what you've posted about. And she's like, well, it's a network marketing company, it's Juice Plus, this is the business model, we have a call. And I think the investment, Sandra, I don't know if you remember, I think was 60 euros. At the time, and I know lots of you guys are not in this place, I'm just telling a story from this place, okay? Because I've had a situation like this in every single level. This is not something that goes because you're a high level person. It's like saying, oh, I no longer have feelings because I practice yoga. Yes, you fucking do. Yeah, Sandra says 60 euros. And I remember telling my family, I was saying, you know, my dad was like, oh, it's not the time. Mum's ill. How are you going to have the time to focus on this? You're not going to be in a good place. Mum's like, you know, in life, Hannah, you've just got to rest. You can't take it easy. I can feel this is making you anxious. They're like, remember that book we had to put in the freezer? That's probably what they were thinking. I love my mum and dad, but, you know, if I'd listened to them, I would not be where I am. I really love them. You know, I wouldn't be where I am. And so I make this payment and it feels like a lot of money for me, guys. I've got under £1,000 and I don't have a job. And it was hard at the beginning. But what was hard wasn't the posting online. It wasn't the selling the juice plus. Like, it's like we've talked about, business strategy is quite like simple. You know, in network marketing, it was like message people, post these things. You know, Shani, the lady that run the Health Style Emporium, she's fucking awesome. She's a brilliant businesswoman, and she'd set it up in the most stupid proof way, right? Where you came in and like, there was a 60-day plan. Do you know what was hard? Keep going. And I saw nothing. When my old self was screaming, people are going to be laughing at you, Han. Who are you to sell these products? Like, how is anyone going to think that you're going to... You're a hippie. What? How? No. That's the voice of reason. The thing is, reason understands that if you stay in conflict and keep crossing the terror barrier to freedom, which I'll explain in a second, that you're going to experience what is called an ego death. That means a change of identity. That's all it means, right? So to go from Hannah, that was relationshipless and broke and not probably very secure in herself, and all sorts of things that I had to work on, right? To where I am now, like, I had to die to myself. And that sounds like a very dramatic thing, which I appreciate and love, because you know that I like to bring the drama to these teachings. I like to lace the stories, right? So they drip emotion. That's just me, right? But I had to die to myself. And this is what, you know, shamanic medicine says, you know, for the next level, they don't say it in this words, you're going to die to yourself. This is what all of the personal development books say. And so reason is terrified. Reason saying the corporate job is safe. Reason saying they're laughing at you online. Reason saying no one's going to see you as an industry leader. Reason is saying, oh, invest a little bit, but not too much. Reason is saying, maybe it's time for a nap. When it is time for a nap, listen, but there is a distinction, okay? Always, always allow naps. Do not allow self-sabotage. You can practice feeling in your body which one is which. Reason wants you to stay the same. Why does reason want you to stay the same? Right? Reason wants you to stay the same because on the other side of the terror barrier, guess what there is? Something different. Do you know what was so scary about yesterday for me? The uncertainty. I called Tams, and if you hear my story yesterday, like, the way that it played out was that the thing that was frightening was the lack of control for me. Other people may have been easy breezy, lemon squeezy, but not me. I was not that. Because I call Tams and I find out that she's not got power in Aurine. I call my friend in Soto, Evelina's in this group, I don't know if she's watching this. She's not got there, she's speaking to people, they've not got power in Portugal. And I'm thinking, is the world in a blackout? I'm thinking, what's next? I'm thinking, how long are we not going to have electricity for? How long are we not going to have water for? Craig and I organised the toilets to use because we couldn't flush. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not at the point where we're going to be using a toilet that the same, no, that's like, I love him and that is the line. We don't have many lines, but that is one of them. I discovered that yesterday. It was the uncertainty. I had to go upstairs and do some breath exercises because I thought to myself, I don't understand what's happening. The reason that people don't cross the terror barrier is not because they're not talented. It's not because they don't have the resources. It's not because it's not going to work for them. It's because they're scared of a future reality that is unknown. Even if unknown is better. They're scared that they haven't got the next chapter written out, so they don't trust that it's going to happen. And what feels safer is going backwards. Even if backwards means bondage, a limited reality. So what Bob Proctor taught is that when you get into conflict, you've got to bring awareness to your body systems, of I'm just in conflict. And then he did some journaling exercises, which if you Google on Spotify, Terror Barrier, the School of Integrative Healing, there's a free session there from me where I do all of the Bob Proctor's resources, which I'm not going to do with you today, which you're going to understand in a second, and you can do them. So he says that you build faith through understanding, and you build through faith through mentally understanding the laws of the universe, and then you've convinced yourself mentally to cross the barrier. And I've always felt, and I've done that for years, I've crossed so many terror barriers, whether it's a terror barrier of speaking to you guys, and you're like, we're not scary, I found this scary. The first live talk I gave 25 people in a university a few years ago, and I literally shook. I was talking about stress, hilariously. I shook. The paper was shaking the whole time. And they go at the end, that was fantastic, but the most stressed person in this room was you. And it was true. I was. Whether it's, you know, deciding to rent a 5.1 million euro villa in Ibiza for, I think we paid 150k a year and then 121k a year because we had a slight discount on the second year. Whether it was investing in my first coach, I remember doing my first 10k pay in full payment, it felt like the most frightening thing in my life. Whether it was saying yes to falling in love with Craig, that was another terror barrier. Whether it was, you know, hiring another team member, whether it was, there's so many times that I've crossed this. But there's always been something in my body that said this is incomplete teaching. And I'm now going to read you what AI said, okay? So, if you're in the global uni, yeah, so basically what Bob Proctor teaches, you must keep going because the more that you align with the goal and the more that you go backwards, the body has got to become the Y frequency. This is correct. This is what he teaches. He teaches that many people don't understand what's happening, so when they feel the fear, the anxiety, they go into reason, they convince themselves it's too big of a jump, they shouldn't do it, and then they go back to bondage, right? So he talks, you've got to hold the jump until it's the new reality, right? And that's the main teaching. And this is true and it's correct. And you will have heard me teach this. And I asked AI, this is a fun thing that I can do because I'm a weirdo and a nerd and you guys can do it as well. I said, would you just tell me the Bob Proctor teachings, where do they vibrate on the Hawkins scale of consciousness? Have you guys heard of the Hawkins scale of consciousness? And the vibration of his teachings, which is still a very high vibration, but not the teachings that we're looking for now in this new age paradigm, was the 400s, right? So his teachings vibrate in reason, in understanding, in mental mastery. Lovely, fantastic, we need that. We can't be devout of that, right? And if we're looking for a higher truth on a higher frequency, there is more. That's what I'm going to explain, right? So Bob Proctor's teachings heavily emphasize the universal laws, rewiring thought patterns and thinking into results. His work sits squarely in the logical mastery of reality, using the mind as the tool to access success, which is beautiful, right? Over time, in his later years, Bob's teaching softened into intuition, abundance, and aligning with the loving universe, which is early 500s. His energy always had a heart-based, you can do it tone, which elevated his frequency beyond the intellect and mindset coaching. So what we're hearing, to make that make sense for you, is mindset coaching is around 400, 450, which is fantastic. That's most success teachers are there. And what I loved about Bob Proctor is he lived the 500s. He was such a beautiful person, and getting on a call with him was just like, the way that he lived his life for me was truly aspirational. And I really say that, and I'm so grateful for his work. And most of his work was in the 400s mindset, which is fantastic. But if we look at the terror barrier from the 500s, right, and higher, yeah, so it says his presence would have vibrated in the 500s, but the core mechanics of his methods stay in the 400s, yeah? Bob Proctor was one of the few mindset teachers who didn't actually get stuck in the mind, and he spoke to universal law, divine mind, and true wealth without getting trapped in ego. Amazing person. He wasn't a get-rich-quick guy, okay? However, mindset is in the 400s, okay? Hannah, say what you're going to fucking say. I'm going to say it, okay? So, the reason that mindset teachings feel slightly Is that all? Is because right now we're being invited to go to a higher octave of frequency, right? Manifestation is no longer about wanting results or willing yourself to results or forcing results into reality, because eventually that's going to deplete you, and that's ego over soul. And it shouldn't work that way. It shouldn't be ego over soul. It's ego holding hands with soul. And that's such a small distinction that you may understand already or through experience, but it's important. Manifestation taught from the 500s is about becoming the vessel that can hold the reality that you want. Those are the soul's journey teachings that we've been speaking to, right? Clearing the karma, the bits and bobs that we've been speaking to, right? It's not about learning to fix yourself, but it's about remembering what your body knows, right? And embodying that. And so let's talk about terror barrier via the body. This is what I'm going to call it. Sandra and Hildegard are going to come on a little bit past 7. I'm going to complete this. Sandra's going to go first, by the way, and share her experience, and Hildegard's going to come on. When we look at terror barrier via the body, what's actually happening is that your nervous system is programmed for your previous life. You're a match to your previous life, right? I'm talking about anything that's come till this present moment. I'm not talking about something drastic, okay? So your nervous system is not only triggered by the new desire, but your choice to do it, right? Which is what I've spoken to today, right? And like I've spoken to, because at the level of ego, identity, it means change and the unknown, which is scary. We've talked about that. Bob would talk about talking yourself into it and doing it anyway. You can do that if that works. However, if you don't bring your body on board, what's going to happen is that you may sabotage the jump. Because even though your mind is convinced, do it, do it, do it, do it, your body is like, holy fucking shit, it's never going to work for us. So for those of you guys that have invested in trainings, you're like, I'm doing the jump, I'm doing it, and you're doing it all from mind, but it's been like your mind did the jump, but your nervous system and your soul and your kidneys and whatever else got stuck up here, and you're left in this is skew whiff, right? It's because you didn't bring the body on board. It's not because it's not possible for you. It's not because you failed. It's not because you're a shit person. It's not because of any of those. Those are silly, silly things that your mind tells you to bring you back into your comfort zone, right? The truth is your body just wasn't on board. That was it. And you need to do some work around your body. Okay? So the work that we do, firstly, and this is what we teach in the Global Uni, is this invisible string work that I've spoken to, which is basically the energetic accelerator, which would be super awesome for any of you guys to do. And the Energetic Accelerator Pro coming up the month after next, right? But this is what I recommend doing. This is my formula I put together for you guys in the bath yesterday morning before making a leap. If we go too much in the mind, we bypass the body. And so we don't want to be talking ourselves out of fear. We want to be feeling what we're feeling. So that doesn't mean that you let the fear win. It just means that the fear doesn't get stuck in the body. So from a very basic sense, when you suppress emotion, right, you experience something that is painful and you keep trying to go, right, without processing that emotion starts getting stuck in your system. Right? And so maybe you don't notice it to begin with because you can keep going, but you're going to get to a point where you're held back by these invisible forces. So when we hit the terror barrier, the invitation firstly, and I teach lots of emotions and embodiment in the Global Uni, right, is feeling what you feel in your body. Do I feel the fear? Where's the fear? And as you think about your jump, you can do this with me, right? Close your eyes. We're not going to do a full process because you guys know I don't do processes in free events. But we can practice some body awareness. Is it in the gut? Is it in the heart? And just notice as you feel the fear in the body, what's it trying to tell you? As you spend time listening to the fear, is it changing? Is it moving? Is it adapting? And just dropping that in the chat. What's the fear saying to you? The biggest problem with pushing down frequency and feeling in the body is that you miss the message. And the message is basically you've got this limiting pattern. Yeah, Tashi, the fear said I need to love myself more. The thing is, if you keep moving and you don't address the fact that you don't love yourself, you're not going to allow yourself to have full results, because there's going to be a part of you that doesn't think you're worthy of them. So that part of you needs to be addressed. That fear, that worry, all of these things coming up in your system are saying, yes, make the jump, but this is what needs to get cleaned up. And I'm telling you it through the feeling. I don't trust myself to make money by myself. I'm scared that I'll fail. I'm scared that I'll get it wrong, and if I get it wrong, I'm scared that my family will judge me. I'm scared if I become too successful, then people will use me. I'm scared if people see me, they won't like me. This is what's coming up in the terror barrier. That's it. This kind of shit. It's that kind of shit, guys. And your body's telling you it. Not because it's true that you're not lovable. Not because it's true that you can't do it. Because your body's saying this is part of your old frequency. And you can keep moving. You can keep moving, but I'm showing you this because if you keep thinking that you can't do it, it might cause some problems here. It's going to be much easier if you just look at me. You do the work to clear me, heal me, whatever it is. The terror barrier isn't something that we force through. The terror barrier is something that we feel through. And the feeling through the terror barrier is going to tell you your biggest blocks to the next level. And the fact that you've actually paused to clean it up is going to make it so much more straightforward. I mindseted so much stuff away in 2022, 2023, 2024 because I have a really, really strong mind. I'm like a fucking pit bull. When I decide, I go. And I had some mean girl antics happen in 2023. And I was so heartbroken, guys. It makes me feel so sad for myself and so compassionate for myself when I tell this. And I kept being like, I've got to terror barrier this through. I've got to keep going. But deep down, the pattern was, if I allow myself to be too successful, I'll be stabbed in the back again. It's not safe to shine. Can't trust my friends. Like all of this really painful stuff. Do you know when that really started to transform for me? When I sat down and went, I'm actually heartbroken. Not in a victim way. And I had a cry. I'm really sad that that happened. I'm so hurt and I've been so scared. And in that moment, I could clear all of this stuff. And I started realizing I'm terrified of being successful. My dad's always said to me, you know, my dad was quite successful for his group of friends. I tell this in top 1. And he'd never talk to his friends about his success at work because he didn't want to make them feel bad. So I had this operating system is that if people know how well you're doing, then you're in danger. I had to clear so much of that to go into this next level. So much of my nervous system felt unsafe. But that only became clear when I paused in that terror barrier of that next level, right? Okay, being on TV, being on social media, you know, even a micro terror barrier with this event, because I feel like I've shown a lot of myself, and that's scary, guys. And that's scary when you've had a hate page and you've had girls be mean girls. It's scary to be vulnerable. And I get scared. I really do. But then I get to sit with, where are all of the places that I'm rejecting myself for other people's approval? I get to clear that. And as I clear that, I cross the terror barrier. Naturally, I keep going. The movement and the momentum was always there. But I'm not forcing through myself. It's so much gentler. Can you feel that distinction? Does that make sense? I'm not trying to convince myself to keep going, because to be honest, guys, I am brave. Do you know what I mean? I am, and many of you guys are brave. What I was hurt. And that was way harder to deal with, being hurt and being heartbroken, because of something I associated unconsciously with success. Right? And so there's two things that I want to say here. When you hit the terror barrier, you are not going against the body. You're not pushing through at all cost, right? You're not like, oh, you know, screw the body, keep going, keep pushing, like, oh, I'm so annoyed, I feel anxious, I'm so annoyed that I feel all of these things. You're pausing and you're saying, you know, maybe you've got a payment coming up, or maybe you've got a big tax bill. We had a client that had a massive tax bill that they've just paid off. That's really fucking awesome, right? They were really scared about, and then it turned out to be not a problem. That thought that comes up, that fear, that contraction pattern. Money's going to run out, nothing's going to come in. That's operating underneath in your subconscious, and you're trying to build momentum with a bug in the system. The terror barrier is saying, yes, baby, let's go to the next level. But you've got bugs in your system, you've got viruses. So I'm making you feel anxious, I'm making you feel worried, so you look at them. But it's perfect. It's perfect to feel this. And when we give presence to these things, and I show all of these techniques and tools in the Global Union, various programs, of course, I'm going to share those with you guys now, right? You don't just force through against your body. You soften into, you relax into. This brings me my second thing in the terror barrier. When we're scared, what does your body do? Drop that in the chat. When you're scared, what does your body do? When you're scared, what does your body do? I really feel that there's definitely a bug somewhere that's blocking me. Doesn't have to be blocking you. Okay, Sandra, contract. When we're hitting a new level of responsibility, you've got to make a new payment, you've got to hire a new team person, you've got to show yourself on social media, you've got to not just say, oh, I'm hoping to build a brand that does this. No, you've decided. You're not in this feebly energy over here. You're not putting books in the freezer like me because you feel uncomfortable. You made a choice, right? So you hit the terror barrier. What's your body going to do? It's going to contract. Yes, thank you, Tashi. The instant response to fear is contraction. It's the worst thing that you can do. The lymphatic system is fucking fascinating. If you're in the Global Uni, you know that the health program is coming, because wow. Wow, I've been on a journey with amazing health stuff this year. But the lymphatic system is really interesting. The lymph becomes stagnant where there's no movement in the body. There's no movement in the body very often when there's fear. There's been times in my business, and some of you guys will relate to this, where I've been so nervous and feeling like I've got to hold it all together. All I've done, and I love a desk, okay? I love a desk. There's nothing wrong with a desk. Some people don't live by a desk. I like a desk. I don't like outside that much. I like inside more. However, even as a woman that loves a desk, I've become really stagnant in my system and my body. And so there's been times in business where things have happened, it's been hard. And the least thing that I've wanted to do is shape my body, is move my body, is find fluidity, is finding movement in the lymphatic system. When you look at manifestation, right, through the eyes of the lymphatic system, and remember, the micro is the macro, right? If you don't move, there's stagnancy. So when that terror barrier comes, what do we need to do? We need to be like a healthy lymphatic system. We need to move our bodies and find relaxation in the contraction. Let's talk about me yesterday. I could imagine, oh God, it's embarrassing when I tell you this. I noticed the electricity was going. My first thought is all the planes are going to fall from the sky. I'm not even joking, that's what my mind told me, which was extremely helpful, as you can imagine. So I'm having that thought and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm contracting now. I've got to relax into the contraction. So I go into my bed and I now know all of these breath things, and we teach this in the Global Uni, but many of you guys also know this. In my bed, I'm on my grounding sheet, I'm relaxing, and I call Tams again and she's like, you sound much better. What happens when you're scared, guys, is you make stupid fucking choices. And this is a primary reason that people's businesses don't scale. When people were in the contraction and they weren't relaxing into the contraction yesterday, no traffic lights were working in Malaga. So people were being nut jobs. Everyone bought toilet roll again. We thought we were over the toilet roll situation in COVID. We thought that we laughed at that. We understood that wasn't an appropriate thing when you're in panic, right? Guess what happened in Malaga again? No fucking toilet roll. Nando, Tams's partner, we weren't in Malaga because Craig's instant reaction is when there's an emergency. It is an emergency, guys. You're never going to watch this, but I just feel like I need to say it anyway. No, it's not an emergency. It's just not electricity. Fuck off. When you're in emergency, people go into panic mode. And if you look at people in COVID, if you look at people now, they start doing insane shit. Nando said that the motorbikes were going on the pavements. Like, people were just behaving in the weirdest way. Why? Because the fight or flight had taken over. Many of you guys are doing the same in your businesses and you're doing the same in your relationships. You're hitting a terror barrier, you're hitting a next level. And instead of regulating your body, softening it into it, and asking yourself from a cool place, what's my next step, right? For example, for me, my next step, didn't like it, hiring a full-time tech team. Not a fan. It's a big investment. It's a big investment, and it's not an investment into marketing. It's an investment purely into customer service, right? There was a time in my life where I would not have made that investment because it would have felt too much of a risk. But calm Hannah on the brink of an up level knows that that's her next step. And it's just one team member, guys. Got lots of other teams. But also I had a call with a COO today, and apparently my profit margins are way beyond the industry standard. I'm not going to tell you what they are because they're my numbers, right? But apparently, wow, numbers, something to be proud of. So I enjoyed that today. Hannah in a fear response, because what does fear response do? There's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough contract, right? Contract. What do we start doing? Oh, I'm not going to put money in that. Yeah, Sandra says he came in handy yesterday. Yeah, exactly. Lucas to save the fucking day. Some of you guys might have met him. He's called Lucas. We love him. He's part of the team. It's excellent. He's Brazilian living in Amsterdam. We like that multicultural blend. And evidence that, yeah, exactly. It's evidence that it's the right step. Yeah, thank you, Sandra. I'm over that terror barrier now. I did have to relax into it consciously. It was not a normal relaxation. As my nervous system expanded, oh, it's safe to have this support. My point is, many of you guys are letting panic drive your business, drive your investments, drive your choices in your relationships. The contraction is coming and you're going into emotionality. I can't do that, I'm scared. Can't do that, I'm scared. And you're missing what's in front of you. You're missing the next step. Because you're scared. Not because of intuition. Not because of anything else. Because of fear. And so terror barrier through the body, it's this very physiological, not mental process of I feel the contraction. I need to relax into it and find momentum and movement. And actually, physical body practices are very beneficial for that. My favorite is listening to hypnotherapies and I jump on my rebounder on my balcony as if no one can see me. They can see me. Do you think my tits are unbra? No, they are not. They are naked. I am nude. I'm going to be that crazy jumping naked neighbor, and I don't even care. Because it's making me money. Do you know why it's making money? Because it's relaxing my nervous system, making my lymphatic flow. So we don't have neighbours that you can really see around our house. If I did see them, I would put a top on. Maybe, let's see. Jury's out. It's not full summer yet. The point is, relax where you want to contract. Relax and flow into the next step where you want to contract. And this is going to feel like the most unfucking natural thing in the world. It's not going to feel natural because your survival system is going to go, you're not safe, go buy toilet roll. You're not safe, drive through the pavement to get home as fast as possible. People were not doing sensible things yesterday. Like, honestly, weird as fuck things. Because they didn't know how to regulate. Through the body, not through the mind. Right? Final story on this. Yeah, this is what I've said. You have to soften and relax when you want to contract. That's how you stretch your nervous system to hold more. It's basic somatics. Final thing on this. Some of you guys have done upper limits with me. I'm not going to go through what it is again because it's way too big for the context of today. But upper limits is where you're hitting a new level of receptivity, so you're able to receive more money. You're going to hit something that feels bad. You're going to go into sabotage. And the sabotage is the contraction. I'm going to stop doing movement. I'm not going to post on Facebook. I'm angry for no reason. I'm going to complain, right? The invitation in the body, somatic invitation for expanding your nervous system capacity to receive more is asking what good is trying to come through. Instead of focusing on where there's contraction in the system, you're finding lightness and you're expanding it. And we do a lot of processes to do that in the global uni as well, right? So success isn't just about being brave. Crossing terror barriers isn't just about being brave. It's about learning to relax where the body wants to contract. And I'm going to give you one final story on this. There was a month in 2022 where I received a total of a 100k bill. At this time, the global uni team cost me about 20 to 30k monthly to run, right? We had to clean up lots of these things and it no longer costs near that. But it did. And I was renting the property in Ibiza, which was about 150. So I owed a 60k bill for the next half of the contract that I'd agreed to. And I had to pay the team. So it was about, I think it was 99 grand in expenses in 1 month. And the reason that it fell on my shoulders is that the month before, Craig and I broke up. And in that moment, most normal people that are not me would have called the owners and they would have played a sob story. I can't pay. Can't do it, can't pay. It's 99k, me and Craig have broken up. It's just me and a $5.5 million euro property. Most people would have found a loophole. Most people would have lied, manipulated, been out of integrity with money. To try and get out of payment. They would have gone into the, I can't do it. I'm not going to take responsibility for it. I'm going to get my violin out and I'm going to play you a tune, right? Which is fine. I've done that. Smaller versions of that in other times of my life. I am game, not judging you. I'm bringing awareness to it, okay? I ain't a fucking martyr and I'm definitely not perfect. And in this moment, I knew I'd, signed this contract. People can get out of contracts. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could have pushed it to get out of that contract and see if I could pull on their heartstrings. But I felt a commitment. I said I was going to pay for this, right? And that my word is my honor. And if you want people to treat your payments like their word is their honor, then I recommend you bringing that on as a philosophy as well. And so I'm facing all of these bills and I know that they're coming out. And I pay the house bill. And I did have cash, but it brought me back to a level that I did not feel comfortable with, especially with the ongoing team expenses. And there was this moment where I've paid the house. I know the team expenses are coming. Craig and I are separated. In this huge house with 7 bathrooms by myself in a forest in Ibiza. I've got cracking stories to tell you guys of times that I've done weird shit. And I remember going to myself, and this is the philosophy in action. You've got 3 days, Hannah, to feel as frightened and sad as you want. And I did for 3 days. Terrified. Didn't sleep. Like, just was so upset. My cleaning lady, my housekeeper, who became my mum in Ibiza, Sonia, I love her so much. She'd bring me omelettes as I cried into the omelettes and ate the eggs, and that was the only food I really ate, and I dropped weight, and I had it. And then I said, okay, we felt this. I remember thinking to myself in my life, we're at such a risk situation in terms of finances, in the fact that I've never not paid a team member. I've never paid a team member a day fucking late, and I wasn't starting then, right? That's a value system for me. Absolutely fucking no, 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 no. So, okay. At this point, the most of the business had done about 50k a month. I'm like, okay. I remember in my head going, it's so high stakes right now, you cannot afford to be scared. You've got to hold the frequency like no one has fucking held the frequency before. You have to do this work at such an immaculate level, right? That, like, you are not allowed a thought of scarcity. You are like, and I remember that weekend, I thought to myself, okay, and I did one of the processes and practices that I teach in the Global Uni on how to align to the goal. And I remember going to the spa, and at this time, like, spas in 5-star hotels were not my norm, guys. Like, it wasn't my life. Like, I hadn't really been to a hotel. Like, in my family, we went to Spain on holiday because I'm Spanish. Where the fuck would we go somewhere else? Do you know what I mean? And we'd go stay with my grandma. So, like, not really hotel experiences, let alone 5-star hotel experiences from my family. And, like, my family are hippie and alternative, you know? So I remember going to this hotel, Bless Hotel, and I took the science of getting rich, and I was like, okay, responsibility. Responsibility means the power is in me, it means I'm powerful, it means I can do it. What would I be doing if I kept being like, what would I be doing if I had 100k a month? What would I be doing if I had 100k a month? Okay, you'd be in the spa, what would you be feeling in the spa? You'd be feeling these feelings. I'm practicing holding them for like huge amounts of time, right? Bye, Tashi. Huge amounts of time I was practicing holding this frequency, right? What would I be doing? And I remember thinking to myself, I'd be going to the market. There was this market that I loved in Ibiza, and it had all these beautiful, very like bohemian, hippie, like luxury dresses, right? And I love a dress. And I remember getting to this market, and my first thought was, you cannot buy anything. What's that? Contraction. You cannot buy anything. You can't have it, you can't have it, you can't have it. I remember saying to myself, no. We relax when we want to contract. I wouldn't have used those words because I didn't understand it the way that I understand it now. I didn't fully understand the power of what I was doing whilst I was doing it, okay? I was just doing the alignment work that I teach in the Global Uni. And I bought myself 2 dresses. Now, I didn't go out to a designer store. You know, there's some designer stores where you buy 2 dresses, or you buy like a series of outfits and you spend 3 to 5 grand. No, I didn't. I bought a dress that was 100 each, right? So I spent 200 euros. So I didn't go bonkers, but I still wanted to give myself that embodied experience of having. That embodied experience of the contraction is coming and I'm leaning into it. And that whole month, Tams will remember it, I kept leaning into it. I've never done the personal development work in my life harder than I've done in that month. And I knew that if I chose fear, I would fuck shit up. I knew I would. I knew that I'd act panicky and like a weirdo and shit the bed. I kept choosing possibility, I kept choosing abundance on a second by second basis. We did 105k that month. I had a 99k bill and ended the month in profit. That's what happens when you relax, when you want to contract. According to this wonderful lady that's in businesses that do many, many millions, my numbers and my percentages are not normal, especially for not someone that's had success with ads. Everything that we've done is organic. It's this work. It's this work, guys. I get scared, like I've told you all the time, but I'm consciously making this choice. Can I relax where I want to contract? Can I keep coming back to responsibility? Where is my power? Yesterday, where was my power? In breath, in making sure we had enough water, we had enough food, right? We didn't buy toilet roll or something else absurd. And we would have been fine if it was more days. Fortunately, it wasn't. Where are you letting panic and fear and contraction lead in your life? And where is that the exact thing that's holding you back? When you hit the terror barrier, the fear, the worry, the everything is just your subconscious and nervous system telling you what's not aligned with the next level. What you've got to do is feel it, clear it. We teach all of that in the Global Uni, and relax and stay in movement. Relax, keep in movement, clear your subconscious. That's the work. If not, your limitations are always going to keep you small. And if you're being presented with an opportunity, it's because now is the moment to do it, right? That's the terror barrier 2.10. There's so much more that I could say. And if we were in the Global Uni, I'd now take you through a series of practices, but you guys know that this is a very loving boundary that I hold. I hope that's giving you an expanded understanding of what to do when you hit the line of fear. Movement is the medicine. But make sure it's not just movement in business, make sure it's movement through the body. If there's blocks, there's fears and that, look at it. Look at it, it's fantastic. Your body is saying you can't take that to the next level. Instead of trying to climb the fucking mountain with all of those rocks in your bag, pause, take them out. That's why the work that we do in the Global Uni is so different to most schools that will just tell you keep going. You can do, but that's harder. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it in a way that feels lighter. But you're going to have to do things that are counterintuitive, like relaxing where you want to contract. For some of you guys, you're going to have to learn these tool sets. For some of you guys, these tool sets are completely new. For some of you guys, you're going to have to put yourself in a new environment and commit to it. It's going to mean different things for those of you that are listening because you're all in different places. And the beauty of the Global Uni is that we attract people at very different places in their life in terms of like career, in terms of like finances, in terms of age. Cool. You're welcome. These are ancient wisdom things. These are laws. These aren't cute hacks. So we might do a little feel into the body at the end. I'm deciding whether we do it, but before that I'm going to bring in my clients and I'm going to ask them to share their experiences in the CERT and the Global Uni. Sandra, Hildegard, are you there? I know we're starting a little bit late. Oh, I can add Sandra. If I speak to Sandra first, and then Tams, if you text Hildegard. Ah, there you are. It always does this, doesn't it? It's like, oh, if we let another person on, then we're just going to zoom in on your very small breasts, but we want it on. There we go. Not yours, Sandra, mine. Everyone, this is Sandra.
Hello.
Sandra has been, oh, I can't hear you very well.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, but I might be like weirdly close to the camera to make sure that I can pick up what you're saying.
Okay.
Sandra, Hildegard's there. Hildegard, can you see if you can add yourself? Because it doesn't let me add Sandra, but it didn't let me add you. So whilst you're doing that, I'm going to ask Sandra some questions. So Sandra's been with us for the last couple of years, but you have completed the certification. So what I really wanted was for you to give a perspective on the Global Uni, but also a perspective on the certification. And, you know, my clients always say to me, Hannah, what do we say? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what to say because I don't want you to say what you think that I want you to say. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't want it to be fabricated. I want this to be real. Like the people that join us are real people with real results. And so I feel like if I put this into a framework or whatever, I'm sure many marketers would tell you that I'm wrong, it would take away from some of the authenticity of it. So I'm just going to pass it over to you. What have been the biggest things that you've taken from the Global Union? What have been some of the biggest things that you've taken from the certification program?
Wow. Okay, so there are quite a lot of things.
Give it to me, baby.
I would say first about like the cert, because the cert, well, I just finished it and it's just been like the biggest mind-blowing experience I had in my life. And obviously I can talk a lot about it, you know, my experience, but it's more like the in-person that actually has like really like made a massive difference in my life. And especially last year when I had a lot of like things, you know, like coming up into my life, like you were saying, you know, like being in a contraction, you know, in the chaos, you know, and there are so many things that are happening all at once, and you can just like be in that state of fear and contraction and just really like stay in this small place. Actually, like the cert and the school has been helping me to actually like lean in and really like face all of the things that were happening in my life. You know, my mom passing away, like the fear as well of like coming into the in-person. You remember I was like petrified, and I was like 3 weeks after my mom passed away, so there was like so many things and internal conflict that I was having inside of me, and as well like wanting to really like step into my business and being fully like full-time self-employed as well, you know, was a big thing. So that was a really like big like whirlwind of like things happening, and having like, you know, like you know, Tamsin and everyone, you know, within the school, you know, like really holding me and supporting me, you know, in my transformation, you know, has helped me so much. Like when I went into the in-person, it was like, I can't even describe, like it was crazy. I never felt like this openness, you know, in me. And I think that was really like the catalyst, you know, for me, like taking like really like bold actions, you know, in my life, in my business, in my relationship with myself, you know, with my partner as well. Everything really like changed, and now I feel like I'm actually living like my best life so far. You know, I been able to actually like manifest insane things in my life, like the flat that I'm living in, you know, like the car as well that we just bought as well, like so many things. So there is, I mean, I've been 2 years within the school, you know, like the uni, and everything really like compound, you know. It's like the small, you get like drips, you know, like of information, and I always take, you know, like I'm just surrendering, you know, like my body, my mind will take in like what needs, you know, to be for me at this moment, you know. And it's just like, it's all about the implementation as well. So yeah, you get the knowledge, but it's how you implement it into your life as well that actually create like the biggest ripple effect, you know. So being, you know, on a driver's seat, and for me, I feel like you've been teaching me, you know, to actually like own your power. Like you have the key within you to actually like you know, heal, you know, like and you just like in guiding me, you know, like to actually like unlocking, you know, the doors, you know, and getting rid of like my black bag, all the rocks in my black bag. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been absolutely like incredible experience, you know, and it keeps like compounding more and more and more every day. So I see evidence every single day, like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's working, you know, like it's, and trusting that there is like a time for gestation, like time, you know, for everything. So like trusting and surrendering and relaxing, you know, when you just want to escape into like into fear.
Go
And
into fear. Yeah, I want to share some context for you guys about Sandra. So when Sandra joined us, she joined us firstly with the Energetic Accelerator, which is a energetic program that we've been running for a few years. And to begin with, because as you're in the school, some of you guys will do one round with us, some of you guys will do a bazillion round with us. We've got clients that have been with us for like 4 or 5 years, you know, since, well, 4 years since we've begun. Do you know what I mean? And so, and everything in between. We've got a lot of clients that have been with us for many years. But when Sandra joined us, I want to give you guys like practical, tangible context, because I remember speaking to Sandra when she was thinking of joining us. And at the time, what she wanted, her goals were very different. I don't know if you remember this, Sandra.
yeah,
To where you are now. The goals that she had in her mind at that moment was like, I want to have a new car, and I want a new flat, and that was kind of like, those are the big things, and I want to do some of the personal development works, right? She had a full-time job, like that was the desire, that's where she was at. And one of my favorite manifestation stories from Sandra was the first time that she joined us. She'd been wanting this new home, and if you guys know any of my teachings, I'm a big believer in your home being a really important place that you feel good in, right? Because it's, especially if you work from home, right, it's like it is important, right? And Sandra had been wanting this dream flat with her partner for 4 years, was it?
yeah, 4 years, yeah.
4 years. 4 years, they'd be like, it's going to happen sometime maybe. And she joined and she started doing the energetic work. And it was like, boom, she got the car. Boom, she was able to pay for the school. Boom, she was able to pay for the flat. And it was like this very...
And I had no money. Like literally what's happened is like I was petrified to like make a move because I never invested that much money in my life. Like, and first I was like the reaction of my partner. I was like, what is gonna say about me? You know, like I'm insane, I'm crazy. And it turned out he actually said like, follow like your gut, you know, like what your gut is telling you. And I was like so surprised. I was like, oh my God, okay. And then within that same week when I actually said yes, you know, like to lean in, you know, and like, okay, let's cross the terror barrier. I don't know where it's going, you know, like we don't have a home, you know, in like a week because we live in Airbnb. We haven't found anywhere, you know, like we don't have a car, like literally we could be homeless next week. And I just like literally like, okay, I'm going for it. And the same week we actually found a car, like literally like the car of our neighbors, like the fraction of the price that actually we wanted to actually like invest in a car. And then we manifested the flat that we're living in now, which was like 4 years in the making, which we were so upset. And then we just literally like surrendered to it or whatever, you know, it just happened in the same week. And we actually like negotiated a price that actually like I felt was right for us. And the landlord said yes. And I managed to actually like find the money to actually pay for the school. And it was just like, it really blew my mind because I thought like, oh, this happened to everyone else, but it's not gonna happen to me. And then when I saw this happening without any expectation, because I literally like surrendered to it, I was like, yeah, fuck it, you know, like let's do it, you know. And I really trusted my gut. Then things like started to unfold, you know, like one by one, and not even like thinking about timing because I wasn't like thinking about time. And it just really like blew my mind. And even like now, like the car we didn't expect, you know, to have the car of our dream that we love, you know, for like the price we had, that was insane. So it's just like trusting, you know, like really like what your body is telling you, and being, like you said, you know, like the compass, you know, being the compass, you know, to actually like help you, not like from the mind, but really like from the body. And really like being, you know, in that place rather than just being from here.
And so that was your kind of, you've got to imagine over a couple of years, there's a lot of time for a lot of things to happen. And I'm just going to speak, Sandra, if that's okay to you, to like the things that I remember in time. So I remember when you joined, there was that, and you're like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like this is happening. and then you joined the certification just a little bit before this last year. But what I want to speak to is like the awesome practitioner that you've become, because I think that's really important to highlight. And one of the really fun things that we do within the community is that our practitioners train with our global uni clients, right? So they've got to do a set amount of practice sessions before certifying. And who better than the people within the community to get a session, right? And Hildegard, we're going to let you on a little bit. I've just realised I can only do a live with one person at a time. So Sandra, I'll speak to you for a little bit and then I'll swap with Hildegard if that's okay. But Hildegard, who you'll meet in a second, who's another awesome client, you did a session with her. So we teach trauma healing, but trauma healing done correctly is manifestation. Just it's taught shitly, basically. I don't have enough time to explain that, but I'm just going to plant that seed there. And so the process that we teach is trauma healing and manifestation. And Sandra, you did a really awesome process on Hildegard that really stuck out in my mind because, well, actually, Sandra comes from physical body work, don't you? And I think the reason that you were interested in the practitioner training, and let me know if that's correct, was because we do all the other bodies like hormones, nervous system, female health. Like you're probably more experienced, I would say definitely more experienced than us in that realm, right? But you were looking for all of those different other modalities as well. And so tell me about the session with Hildegard and the session that the type of sessions that you've been able to have with people since training with us.
Yeah, so like what you were just saying, I was looking for actually like, because just doing from the body is actually incomplete. So I was looking for something that actually would be more complete. So when the client has an experience, it's like a whole 360 experience, you know, that actually like has a ripple effect in everything in your life. And then with Hildegard, we did, well, there is like different like modalities and we're not going to explain it, but like the one that we did was, I think, one of the most powerful, which is the inner child alchemy. And we, I mean, Hildegard can really speak to it if she wants to, but we went through that process and it doesn't have to take long. And we really like went to uncover, you know, like deep rooted, you know, like childhood, you know, like wounding. And in 20 minutes, we actually like clear really a lot of stuff. And I knew that actually like something really big shifted, you know, in her, like, because I could really see it in her body, but as well like her vibration. So with like the certification, one thing that I want to say is you actually, the more you practice, the more attuned you are from within your energy, and your psychic ability are being more heightened. And this what has been happening for me like this past year is really like my psychic ability have been like more heightened, and I'm being able to actually like be more present, you know, with my clients, and really like going deeper, you know, in a journey with them to actually like really alchemize and really transform and really like reprogram and recalibrate, you know, like their vibration and their nervous system, you know, and so they can really feel, you know, like the power like within 20 minutes. And then the more like they will, the more like, you know, they repeat, you know, their mantra, you know, that we create together, like that's what Hildegard did, you know, like it just like compounds energy, you know, and it blew my mind. And I knew when she texted me, like literally 2 days after, like, yeah, I got the car, you know, like I got the clients, you know, and I was like, well, I knew already because I felt it in her body. Like
it was a very funny like series of events, right? Because Sandra is a good student is like an understatement, right? So in all of the practice sessions, there was Sandra. So from all of the certifications, it was very funny timing because Hildegard did the session around, it was like whatever she did, that she couldn't receive the car that she wanted, or there was something around. I remember, I know it sounds like we're talking about the car, right? And I haven't watched this session, so I don't know what happened. But it's not about the car. This is what I want you to understand in terms of healing. It's about there's part of you that is disallowing you to have what you want. And that's the wounded, hurt, blocked, whatever word you want to call it, part of you, right? And so the healing work doesn't try and fix an emotional problem by giving you a car. It fixes the emotional problem, and as a byproduct, you get to have the car. And this is very, very different, because I don't believe that money or cars or any of that shit can fix anything in here. It can't, right? It's another fucking rat race that you'll be on. But when you create from the inside out, right, and you clear something, you're creating emotional liberation. As a byproduct of that, you get what you want. The universe and God wants to give you what you want. I believe that infinitely, whatever term you want to use, right? And so if you don't have it, there's something within you that's either not a match or scared to receive it, or associates it with something negative, you know, like what we did with the sentences, right? And so what Sandra did with Hildegard is she found where in the system, right, there was a bug. She found a bug. That's the session.
And we closed the tabs.
Nutshell.
We just closed the tabs. That's basically what we did. It's just like closing the tabs of like what is keeping her stuck, you know, and we just literally opened a door for her to be open, you know, to receive the things that she desired, you know, and yeah.
And boom, and how many days was it? So Hildegard, how long, if you could put that, Hildegard's put the session was awesome, right?
Yeah, 2 days.
2 days, yes. Okay, so it was 2 days. So she'd gone from not being able to receive the car, right? It's weird, it's illogical shit, and it happens all of the fucking time, the global uni, right? Not able to find the car, not able to get the car in years, boom, clear, right? Doors open, gets the car in 2 days. And so that's what I really want to land for you guys. It's like in your head, it's like, oh, the next level is going to take so much time. It's going to be so painful because look, in the last 4 years or 5 years or 1 year or 6 months, I've been able to do this, right? But like when the pathway is clear, the time becomes arbitrary. Because it's not about time. Manifestation's got nothing to do with time. Results have got nothing to do with time. It's all about frequency. It's all about being a match. Mm-hmm. My favorite thing that happened simultaneously is Sandra wanted a car. So apparently Sandra, around you, very car related.
I got it before, like literally like few days before. And then Hildegard told me about the car, and I was like, okay. Like this is where I have been myself. So, you know, like actually like when you do a session with a client, you as well, you know, like heal a part of yourself. So it's a relationship. So you see part of yourself within as well the client, and it's powerful for the clients, but it's as well powerful for you. And it made me laugh. I was like, okay, like let's do it, because that was like lots of my session, you know, with the girls, you know, who were doing clearings. And then literally I manifested, you know, the car, and I was like, here you go. So now I can guide you, Hildegard.
Exactly. But weren't you feeling very stuck around the car, and then you had a session with someone else, and then suddenly boom, car? Like it was so funny. It was like in the certification for like a little period of time, everyone was getting a car. I was fucking hell. I still don't drive at 32. I'm not embarrassed to tell you guys, but apparently you guys, car is the medicine. Fuck knows, right? But it was, yeah, car expert, exactly. Which was very funny. And so couple of last things, right? So Sandra, firstly, it was like those physical, practical manifestations. Then it was big focusing on like unblocking yourself, learning to unblock others, having that more complete idea of healing, which is why you did the certification. I want to speak to what the certification, because lots of people join us because they want to make more money and all of that. But like what you don't realize that you're getting is a complete rebirth, right? Of that you're getting a nod there. And then so the in-person was especially poignant for Sandra. Actually, Sandra and Natalie had just been in a hurricane, and she flew. I don't know if Natalie's here. If you are, hello Natalie, we love you. And then Sandra's, you know, again, I'm very jovial to talk about heavy subjects. It doesn't mean that there's not care. It just means that we're very used to talking about heavy subjects, right? But Sandra's mum had passed away 3 weeks prior, and it had been a very rapid diagnosis. It's happened to a couple of my clients. There's a diagnosis, and then a month later there's a death, right? So it happened to another one of my clients a while back, and again, we were able to do. I'm actually a death doula. Many of you guys don't know this, and again, I'm not going to go into it, but it that allowed I suppose the university held you in a process that society is uncomfortable with. And this is one of the big things that I felt, that healing needs to be in community. And I know we're digital and it's different, but the way that it worked being in person as you went through that, Adrienne, who's just done the says, I agree with the Reva. It's accurate marketing, isn't it? But everyone's rebirth is completely different. We actually need every single client to share their experience, right? Because the journey, you get what you need, like, and you know, when we're bringing clients in, it's different stages, different things. Like now, Sandra, her next up level and her next tarot barrier is going freelance. It's having her own business, right? Like that's the next thing, right? And so we've all got these. So first, it was things, then it was rebirthing, then it was holistic healing much deeper, then it was this transition. And for any of you guys that have lost a mother or a father, it's really a transition of becoming a parent to yourself. It is a big thing. It is a big thing. It's not quite a big thing. It's an extremely big thing. And it feels like one of your big pivotal foundational rocks has just left the world, right? So however close the relationship is, or that was my experience. So I know that you had the in-person experience with us, Sandra, and I know that she had a very psychic time. A lot of people have spiritual gifts come on board when they do the training. The thing is, if you're going through a literal loss portal, then sometimes they can be heightened. But what did it give to you? And I know you were very scared to come on the training. Everyone was very scared. I was completely unaware. I thought everyone thought we were going to have a great time, but we arrived and everyone was very frightened. And I was like, what did you think you were coming to? I'm just here, like, having snacks. Like, but no, in all seriousness, let me ask a serious question. What did that mean to you?
I was petrified. Like I tried to escape. To actually to come to the in-person because of the fear of like the unknown. And I think it was like the fear as well, you know, like of meeting who I am, truly who I am. And I remember you saying like to me while we were doing one of the process, like, which was wild, like, you are ready. That's what you said to me. That's what stuck in my mind. You are ready. Yeah, I was petrified because everything, you know, like prior to that, like since July, and obviously that was October, you know, like the in-person, everything was like snowballing, like chaos after chaos after chaos. And I felt like I was like, whoa, you know, trying to navigate so many things and try to just really like, I need to get my be together, you know, like for my family and everybody. And when obviously mom passed away, I had a really big epiphany, like and I think for a lot of people it would be weird, the experience that I had, because I didn't really like my way of grieving was actually like, what is this teaching me? And I really, it has been like the biggest lesson in my life, you know, so far. And the way I've been grieving, you know, has been so helpful, and it's thanks to actually like the CERT and the Global Uni as well, because I had all of the tools, you know, like, you know, to actually like help me, you navigate, you know, this, you know, big stage of my life. You know, like you said, you know, like you're not a daughter anymore, like you becoming like the archetype of the mother, so you have to step up, you know, as a new identity. You know, it's a rebirth. And the whole last year felt like literally like a rebirth. And obviously the in-person like experience was just like, go for it, girl, like poof poof everywhere, you know, all my ancestors, you know, coming and really like holding me, and just, it was the most beautiful experience I had in my life. And I really like grateful and cherish that every single day. I'm thinking about it like every single week, like, oh my gosh, this is a gift, you know, that has been given to me, and it has really opened something in me, you know, that I'm just loving life. I'm loving who I am, you know, and really like following my joy, you know. And that's what mom, you know, really was saying to me, like, follow your joy, follow your compass, you know, follow like what really like drives you, you know, like and you know, like nourish you, you know. And I decided after like the in-person, like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna be like self-employed. I don't want to do like, you know, a 9 to 5 anymore. I just want to do something bigger in the world, you know, and build a legacy, you know, for like my family, for my mother, you know, because it's important to me. So yeah, it's the biggest journey that I ever taken, you know. And it can feel like quite scary, but when you go through it, you're just like, wow, I'm so happy actually I did it. Like, wow, like
I did it.
I did it. I did it. Yeah, like 2 years ago, I would have thought like, nah, you crazy. All of this? No, it won't happen. Like, wow, I trusted it and surrendered. And here you go. Like, I got so many beautiful gifts from it, you know, and the medicine.
There's two things that I want to finish on, Sandra, and I know we could talk for much longer, but I want to make sure that Hildegard comes on and she can share. But the first thing that I want to share is the reason that I wanted to bring Sandra up, and also, you know, with her in-person experience, was that for some of you guys, the resistance that you feel to making this next level commitment isn't money per se, even though your mind might tell you that it's not safe. Some of you guys, like, money's not a big thing for you. Like, you've got lots of money and that's cool. But what might feel frightening is that personal development, the way that we do it, is like, and I think Sandra, you could speak to this, I'm not going to tell you to sparkle a turd. I'm going to tell you to clean your turd up. Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of teachers out there, and you know, it's not good or bad, but there's different styles. And it's like, you know, in the certification, it makes me laugh. Like, every time I debrief people, I know that everyone's going to cry, and I'm like, what did I even say? But yeah, exactly. Sandra's like, I cried. But my specific style is very piercing. Would you agree with that, Sandra? And the fact that I cut straight through, and
No
so
bullshit. No bullshit. You go straight to the point. And I think that's why we love you, because you're not bullshitting, you're not going around corners. You're just like, no, I'm telling you, but there is in a nice, loving way as well. So it's not like, you know, like, you should do this. It's just like, I think it is really like meeting you like to your, from like your next level, rather than in your, you know, like scarcity, if you can say. So yeah.
it's a big thing. I'm not going to have a pity party for you. I can feel sad, I can empathize, I can hold compassion. I've experienced deep suffering, fear, and all of these things in my life as well, right? But I'm always going to call you higher. And I think sometimes when you've got teachers, or I think back to when I've had teachers, and the thought of, oh my God, they're going to see me, has felt so terrifying. So I think we want to really anchor into, it's not from a place of judgment, it's from a place of really, really deep love. It really is from a place of deep love, but it is deep work that we do in all of it, actually. None of it is really fluffy. It really is like, we go granular. And so yeah, for some of you guys, that might be the fear of like, oh, I've done personal development till now. I'm not saying this is everyone. If you don't resonate, cool, leave what I'm saying, but I've done personal development until this point and it's felt safe, right? And some of you guys digging deeper into the deeper stuff might feel scarier, and for some of you guys, allowing yourself to have more of the stuff might feel scarier. But really, it's still going to be a terror barrier. It's still the psychological process. Whatever comes up is just your own shade of resistance, really. And so yeah, the certification is great if you want to go deeper into your own work, right? We've got people that do it for themselves, and it's also it's a really beautiful, intimate little community, okay? And you get the in-person experience, right? But the certification in-person experience is like none of the other in-person experiences, because it is very deep, and everyone's been preparing themselves really for this in-person experience. So you're able to receive the teachings in a very, 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 very different level, which is, again, we don't do superficial. That's why I prefer a year commitment for everything, because I'm like, what comes up in a month, you can't even imagine what's going to come up in 12. You can't imagine. You've no idea. Like, you might know that you want things, or you want to make more money, or you want to do that, but like, in the global uni become more of you. Like, it's not just, yes, you can have the things, we've talked about the car, we've talked about all of this stuff, you can, Hildegard's going to speak about more of like the business experience because she came through primarily that business lens, right? Even though I know Sandra did, but there was other things first, right? And so the point is what you're going to get. It's like Sandra says, the toolkit to deal with life. And that's what I felt that I didn't have when I hit hard things like my mother's death as well, right? And, you know, I joined that shamanic training during my mother's death, and I didn't realize in that year, Sandra, you've ridden this wave very differently to I did. I was extraordinarily chaotic. You guys have no idea. Like, I literally didn't know who I was for 12 months, and I just felt like, well, maybe you have experienced a bit of this, Sandra. Like, I was just walking into very, very heavy wind for a long time. I found it very destabilizing. But this work of understanding the soul level, the karma, the everything else that's not mentioned in manifestation saved me. And that's the last thing that I want to leave this particular segment on, is that it might be better for sales for me to just talk about the things that Sandra manifested. But the truth is, however good you get at manifestation, you cannot manifest away being human and having a soul's journey. You can't manifest away your karma. It's like Sandra, if she was manifesting, her mother would have still died. And I know that sounds like a really, really painful thing to hear. And I didn't want to accept that for a long period of time. I thought if I could be super perfect and I found everything, and I thought of all the things that I could have changed in my childhood to mean that didn't happen, the chances are it would have happened. There are things that happen. And so we want to be good at controlling what we can control, but we also want to be good at looking after this when things happen that are challenging and difficult and painful. And for me, the work that we do and whatever program you choose is both. Sandra, I love you, but I'm going to have to remove you from the live to bring in Hildegard, if that's okay.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Okay, change to viewer, remove guest. Okay, Hildegard, are you there? Let's hopefully this works. And so as Hildegard comes on, we're coming to the end of our time. This has been a couple of hours, so for those of you guys that are still here, love that. Thank you. Appreciate you. Love your presence. There's different options to join. There is the Global Uni, and you guys have seen you've got the course stack if you join before tomorrow, end of tomorrow. That is a hard deadline. Even though we had a random day in a national power outage, that is still a hard deadline. There's no reason to change it. Do you know what I mean? You guys still had the decision-making time to think. You've got the certification to join the waitlist, put the deposit down. All of this is listed in emails, and I'll put another post in the group after this. And then you've got the top 1%. The thing that is really, really special, Hildegard, are you able to request to join? Hopefully that'll come through in a second. The thing that is really, really special with the course stack is that if you pay the Global Uni in full by tomorrow evening, CET time, so this is midnight CET, I beg that you don't wait until 5 minutes before CET and ask for a link, because just note, we might be asleep. And the team doesn't work all night. Do you know what I mean? So do please check time zones. And if you don't leave it until last minute, for us, it is really helpful. And it could mean missing the window. Do you know what I mean? If everyone's asleep, everyone's asleep. Like, what can I do? So if you know that you're going to do it, it's not going to make a difference if you do it today or tomorrow, even if in your head you want to push away the feeling of the fear or the discomfort. It's the same today and today or tomorrow, but it is much easier for us on a team sense that you don't leave it until probably after 7, 8 p.m. CET tomorrow would be ideal if I could request, please. But yes, for those of you guys that do really lean in and you make this commitment and you make the choice, right? Because it is a choice. That's what it is. And you'll make the choice and you'll hit the terror barrier. It might be a bigger terror barrier. It might be a smaller terror barrier. But in that moment, you get to decide, do you contract? Do you trust the contraction over the expansion? Or do you relax where you want to contract, right? And so if you decide to pay in full, for the Global Uni, get 3 months of 3 one-to-one sessions with me. If you pay in full for top 1, you get 12 one-to-one sessions with me, which is really exciting because it's really a 12-month journey with me, which I have not sold in, can't even remember, guys. I shut one-to-one for a long time. I focused on group, and now I'm feeling that I do want more one-to-one spaces. So you've probably seen things like that drop through. And there are other things that we've added if you're interested, okay? Because I know lots of you guys have texted us about the monthly intensives in the Global Uni. You have got the Sell with Hannah, okay? Which was on Friday, which we called The Frequency Behind the Strategy. So you can go and listen to all of the products and programs on that rather feisty Q&A. And you've got it all of there. But lots of you guys have been like, oh, can I get a bundle? Can I get a course? And so we are doing that for you guys for a limited time until tomorrow again, okay? Because if you know, you know. Hildegard says you've sent a request. It's not come through. Wait a minute. It says unable to join guest. Hildegard, can you try again? The funds. Oh, I've sent you an invite. So for the bundles, as Hildegard comes on, we're obviously going to go 2 minutes over. That's going to be my catchphrase of the fucking event. Is that you can buy the social media technique, which is the blueprint, where I've been banging on about your blueprint in decision making, blueprint in rhythms, blueprint in what type of things to sell, blueprint in everything, right? That's called the social media technique. I know it doesn't make sense. I know I made my life very difficult in that, but that's not what I knew it was going to be when I started, okay? If you want that, that's currently 666. The full price will be 1,500 from Thursday this week, not next week. So you can buy just that for 666 as long as you make the payment before tomorrow, right? Midnight CET, and that is a hard deadline. I've been so wishy-washy and so soft with people for the last couple of years, and we are ending that chapter for reasons that I will tell you in another training, not today, okay? The other bundles that we've put together, we've put a business bundle together. Hildegard, are you able to click the invite that I just sent you? The business bundle includes inbox income frequency blueprint, which is basically our strategy on how to sell in the DMs. So basically it teaches you how to make a minimum of 5 figures a month through DMs, and it's fucking awesome. And it teaches you the psychology of how to buy in a way that doesn't feel sleazy or icky. It teaches you how to overcome sales resistance. It teaches you, if you guys were like me, I'd get in the DMs and then I would feel extremely awkward about what to say. People would be like, oh, can I hear about this program? And I'd go, I don't know, maybe you guys were cooler than me, but I had to work through that. So inbox income teaches you to go from to feeling extremely comfortable in the DMs and closing a minimum of 5 figures a month if you use the system, right? So you've got that. That used to be sold for 3,000. Just that was 3,000, okay? If you buy it by itself. You get inbox income. The EA, the energetic accelerator I've spoken about. This is like energetic clearings. It's clearing those invisible threads, okay? To basically clear all of the unconscious resistance between you and where you want to go, and also, you know, in a way that you're able to enjoy the results. That's usually sold for 1,500. Then you get the social media technique, inbox income frequency blueprint, the EA, and was there another one for that bundle? Tams, was there another one in that bundle? That could have been the bundle. I think that's the bundle. My brain's gone blank. What else have I done this year? That's the bundle. Inbox income frequency blueprint, the EA for clearing, and the social media technique, which is the blueprint. So usually if you bought that all together, it would be 7,000 something. We're selling it for 5,030. So that's 2,300 discounted. Then we've got the mega business bundle, which is everything that I just mentioned, plus Love and Money. Love and Money is our relationship blueprint course. That bundle is for 6K, and you end up saving 4,000 on that. Again, these bundles are only available. Thank you, Tamsin, for checking the list. My brain went, I've been talking for 2 hours. Hildegard, I can't seem to get you on, and you can't seem to. Hildegard, do you mind doing a quick little video for everyone about your experience? That would be so awesome. And then you post it in the group and you guys can watch it. Does that work? See, we're surrendering into all of the things that we're facing. Outages, tech not doing what we want. The bundles will be written out in a post after this. To be very clear, these bundles aren't just something that you can access whenever you want. The products are the prices of the product. So Inbox Income Frequency Blueprint is 3,000 if you buy it normally, right? Love and Money is 3,500 if you buy it normally. Social Media Technique is 666. That's already at its offer point until tomorrow. Then it's going to be 1,500, and that is the price, right? You know, what are the courses? The Energetic Accelerator is 1,500. So these bundles are a one-time thing, and it's happening now. Okay, so you've got your two choices. This is your choice to make. You're like, am I in a long-term commitment place, right? This is how I would make it myself. Am I in a long-term commitment place? Well, firstly, do I want to work with Hannah? Yes or no? That's firstly. If it's a no, then ignore everything that I'm going to say. Am I in a long-term commitment place? My recommendation for the type of work that we do is, yes, you can get a huge amount of value from an intensive, but I'm a long-term gal. I'm a long-term relationship gal, apart from when I was being a nightmare at university. I'm a long-term relationship gal. I'm a long-term relationship with coaches, because I don't want to feel, oh, I need to get all of the juice out of this experience. I'm like, I want to relax and let myself blossom into my next evolution during this investment, okay? If you want to do long-term, right, and a payment plan is the next step, then you can do the payment plan for the Global Uni, it's 1,300 a month. You can do the payment plan for the certification, it's 2,300 a month. You can do the payment plan for Top 1, it's 3,000 a month, okay? Now, if you get on a payment plan and you make that commitment, you make that decision before midnight tomorrow, then you get the course stack. All of the courses that are being bundled here for 5 and 6K, you get for free, even though you shouldn't really get it with your membership because they're already complete, okay? They're done. And for Inbox Income Frequency Blueprint, it wasn't even a Global Uni course. People in the uni had to pay for it because it was a separate course with a separate teacher, okay? So you get that course stack, which is like 5K, right? Or more. Well, it was more, okay? Thank you, Hildegard. She's going to do an amazing video for us. Thank you. If you pay the Global Uni in full, you get those 3 one-to-ones with me. If you pay the Top 1 in full, you get those 12 one-to-ones with me. Pretty awesome. If you want to do the certification, you can put your name on a wait list. The wait list is also in the Facebook group. It's in the emails, right? If you want to lock in the 25K price, you can pay a deposit of 2,500. If you want to start when we next open, which is in June, right? End of June, early July, you can pay in full and you get the Global Uni for free until then. So it's 3 months of the Global Uni for free, and you'll get the course stack too. Those are the long-term programs, okay? If you've got any questions on that, you're like, that's a lot of information, Han, let me know. But I've repeated it many times, so I'm sure it's clear, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is the bundles. Social Media Technique, 666. Biz Bundle, which is selling in DMs, the Blueprint, which is Social Media Technique, and the EA, which is the clearing, 5,030. 6K is the business bundle plus Love and Money. That is our signature relationship course. We do relationships once a year, and it's fucking mind-blowing. You will not see a relationship course that is this comprehensive on the market. I know that's not sexy branding, but I'm a Virgo. I respect mastery. I respect quality of work. I respect depth of transformation. And I know it ain't that sexy, but it is. Some of you guys are geeks like me, so you do like it, right? But it is going to do what it says on the tin, okay? I know that's quite a lot of options. If you've got any questions, Tams and I will be on our phones because we weren't able to be yesterday. We've been trying to catch up with all of the messages from yesterday today, but we've had other calls and other bits and bobs as well. So we're going to do our best this evening, and then we'll be on our phones tomorrow. I can't wait to welcome you, but to be clear, okay, tomorrow is the cutoff. If you miss it, I'm not going to give you the bonuses. And the reason that I'm not going to do it is because it brings me out of integrity. I've said one thing and I've done another thing. And we've done this before, and we've been a little bit softer on these lines, but we're bringing back in very, very clear, firm lines, right? And I wanted to communicate that. So all of these deals are until tomorrow, which is Wednesday, midnight, CET. So check when that is for your time zone. And then from the 1st of May, those deals aren't there. Another thing to note is the certification and other products, for example, the Manifest with Ease membership, which I haven't mentioned yet, are all going up in price. So if you've seen something in the brochure and you know that you want it, just know, and I'm not going to list all the programs that are going up in price now because I don't want to fucking bore you endlessly, but you know that you want one of those, it's probably in your highest interest to mention this to Tamsin or I now, so we can tell you what the price will be on May 1st, because we do actually know now, we've just not released it publicly. Final thing to say, if you're a returning client and you want an ambassador price, we are getting rid of ambassador pricing from this Wednesday. So simultaneously, I need to be really clear and hold my word in this, because if I say it to one person, I can't change my mind with another person, right? Ambassador pricing, midnight, Wednesday, is gone. And so even if you come through on Thursday, I can't say yes, right? Even though if I might want to, which I will want to because I'm soft as fuck, right? Many of you guys that know me know that to be true. So if you know that you want that ambassador pricing, you know that you want those deals, right? Like, this is now the time to commit. And we will not be doing ambassador pricings in the future. So if you're thinking, oh, I've done ambassador pricings for so long, I'm just 6 months, I'm going to request and I'm going to ask, it's not going to happen, okay? Because we're being much, much clearer with our prices. Prices are going up. And I'm telling you guys, so if you come back and you're surprised by the prices, I did communicate it. I love you guys all so much. This has been such a blessing and such a joy to have this experience together. I really, really hope that you've got something profound. Well, I actually know that you have. Not hoping. Hoping is weak manifestation energy. I know that you guys have got something profound from this. I can't wait for these seeds to blossom into something majestic and beautiful and brilliant. You know where we are. I hope to continue the journey with lots of you guys, those of you guys that decide that it is the next step. And if you are crossing a terror barrier, whether it's a terror barrier to join us specifically, or it's a terror barrier for something else in your life, maybe you're leaving a relationship, maybe you're taking a bold career step, remember, relax and move. Relax where you want to contract. And when the contraction comes up, you're not broken, there's nothing wrong with you. Your system's just trying to clear out the old patterning that can't go where you want to go. You've got to move and you've got to clear and you've got to relax. And there's nothing good that comes from panic. It's been a joy, it's been a pleasure, and I love you.